People have long appreciated Canada's strong economy, social safety net, and high standard of living. However, because of economic, social, and environmental issues, many Canadians have found living more challenging in recent years. These problems have radically altered the Canadian experience, making it more difficult for individuals and families to prosper. This thorough examination addresses the underlying reasons for this change and looks at why living in Canada has become so difficult. Financial difficulties. What measures could the government take to alleviate wage stagnation and raise the buying power of Canadians? Declining living standards. The pace of living standard decline in Canada is worrying, marking the largest drop in 40 years. Real GDP per capita, a key economic indicator, has fallen. Canada's economic growth has been among the lowest in industrialized nations since 2019. Canadians' buying power has declined due to stagnant earnings and inflation. Bankruptcy filings have increased 40% in recent years, indicating widespread financial distress. Housing affordability crisis. Many Canadians are in trouble due to the country's historically high home costs. According to surveys, 45% of Canadians are very worried about their capacity to pay for a house. This problem is much more severe for younger persons ages 20 to 35, since approximately 60% of them express worries about the cost of housing. Many Canadians are having difficulty finding acceptable and affordable housing as a result of rising mortgage rates, skyrocketing real estate values, and rising rents. Because rental prices are rising more quickly than incomes, renters in particular are feeling the strain. Rising cost of living. For many people, the cost of necessities like food, petrol, and utilities has become prohibitive due to inflation. Food prices have increased by 8.5%, and energy expenses have increased by 30% since the COVID-19 pandemic. Due in major part to rising petroleum prices, which raised the cost of shipping and transportation for commodities, the inflation rate reached 4% in 2023. In order to meet their fundamental requirements, over half of Canadians have had to reduce their discretionary spending due to the growing cost of living. Unemployment and job market challenges. Significant changes have occurred in Canada's work sector, as seen by the 1.6% increase in unemployment rates between 2022 and 2024. Similar increases in unemployment have historically coincided with periods of economic distress. As of mid-2024, layoffs had increased by 20% year over year, with the manufacturing, retail, and technology sectors being the most affected. The lack of available jobs has particularly negatively impacted recent graduates and students starting their careers. A lot of Canadians are worried about their financial prospects because of the employment market's volatility. Social difficulties. Rates of poverty. Poverty has become a major problem in Canada, affecting 1 in 4 citizens. This figure suggests that many individuals' struggles remain unreported, surpassing statistics. Canada's official estimate of 10%. Renters, young people, and single-parent households are the groups most impacted by poverty. Due to stagnating salaries and rising expenditures, many Canadians are now living paycheck to paycheck. Access to health care. Traditionally, Canadians have taken pride in their healthcare system, but it is currently facing significant challenges. About 20% of Canadians lack a family doctor, delaying or irregularizing therapy. Canada's low primary healthcare spending, 5.3% of its total health expenditure, exacerbates the problem. Comparable rich nations spend 8.1%. As emergency service and expert wait times increase, many Canadians feel disrespected and annoyed. Issues with infrastructure and the environment. What steps can Canada take to lessen the frequency of natural catastrophes and the consequences of climate change? Natural disasters and climate change, rising temperatures, more frequent wildfires, and stronger storms are just a few of the real-world consequences of climate change that Canada is now seeing. Natural catastrophes have been a frequent problem, uprooting thousands of inhabitants and inflicting billions of dollars in damages. Unpredictable weather patterns have also had a significant impact on the agriculture industry, raising food costs and hurting crop output. Rising sea levels and coastal floods are causing long-term issues with housing and infrastructure, strain on infrastructure and urban overcrowding. Major Canadian cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal are finding it difficult to keep up with the country's rapid urbanization. Overcrowding has severely strained public infrastructure, including utilities, public services, and transportation networks. Urban dwellers face everyday obstacles, such as traffic congestion and restricted public transportation alternatives, which lower productivity and quality of life. Due to inadequate investment and deteriorating infrastructure, many communities are ill-prepared to accommodate expanding populations, political and cultural difficulties, pressures from immigration. Although immigration is essential to Canada's development, the country's resources, including housing, healthcare, and education, are under stress due to the rapid inflow of immigrants. Underemployment and financial hardship result from the challenges that many immigrants have integrating into the workforce. In metropolitan areas where demand for housing and services often outpaces supply, this pressure is most noticeable. For politicians, striking a balance between the advantages of immigration and its drawbacks is still a difficult task. Discontent with politics. As Canadians become more dissatisfied with the government's failure to solve urgent problems, public confidence in political leadership has declined. The main issues include lack of housing, ineffective healthcare, and inactivity on climate change. Many believe that Canada is unprepared to face its difficulties because of political impasse and a dearth of creative ideas. Some residents perceive a lack of listening to their opinions, leading to feelings of hopelessness. In conclusion, a convergence of social, economic, and environmental challenges has made living in Canada harder. Canadians are facing a new reality that threatens their level of life, from rising costs and stagnant salaries to overwhelmed healthcare systems and climate change. These obstacles are surmountable. Working together, governments, companies, and communities can change things. Canada can overcome its challenges and build a prosperous society by prioritizing affordability, infrastructure, and diversity. Canada's history of inventiveness and perseverance offers hope for overcoming these difficulties. With the right policies and collaboration, the country can become prosperous and viable again. Help us grow by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing for regular updates.